everybody, I'm Leo Scarver, the Buildsmith from Buildsmith Solutions, and I'm here with the Buildsmithette, Kerry, never to be renamed, who, as you know, does all of our project delivery, and we are going to go through some FAQs, some of the kind of common questions we get on a discussion basis that you can kind of watch all the way through, and hopefully get a bit of a feel for what we're trying to achieve, and how we approach stuff, and really just inform you how best to approach your building project. Isn't that right?
That is spot on.
That is spot on. Right, so the first question I've got, what do you actually do day to day on my build?
Oh, that's a good one actually.
I know, what do you do that, I think we should cut it off as what do you actually do?
Yeah, do it what for you?
Yeah. What do I? Nothing. Play golf. What do you actually do on my build? I think that's a mega one.
Yeah. Good client question.
Very good client question.
Yeah.
We're obviously project managers, which is different to an architect and is different to a builder. Why?
Why? Well, because we encompass it all, and that's the difference, I think.
Yes.
And it's understanding the value of controlling the process start to finish, rather than you as client having to navigate all these moving parts.
So we sit as client expert.
Yeah.
So actually sit instead of the client. Look, we're looking at the camera. Look at the camera. Actually sit as knowledgeable client, right? Because clients don't know what they don't know. And I know this has come from me as kind of the original founder at Buildsmith, but I truly believe that 80% of building projects should never have happened. And there are too many people, architects and builders, sadly, running towards the client, requesting money from them, and not saying, should you do this?
Because they're not looking at the bigger picture.
No.
They're looking at their element, and they're looking at, you know, I can get a fee to do X, and that's my part done. Whereas we are looking at it from a whole different angle.
We just want to try and protect the client.
Yeah, and actually, the leading question that you do a lot of the time is why?
Why? Yeah.
What you
why
hope
are you doing this?
And why do you want to do this?
Yeah, fine. Okay. So the next question is, do I even need a project manager, or can I just deal with the builder myself?
Well, you can.
You can? Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, of course you can. And actually, I think it a lot depends on the size of the project and what you're doing. Do you think?
Yes, I absolutely think.
A little porch on the front of your house.
Yeah.
You can control that, I think. As a client, you can probably control that build and the moving parts of that. Yeah,
but interestingly, when it comes to something seemingly small like a patch repair on a roof, and this isn't a slate against roofers, by the way, but just an example, there are some, I have seen it time and time again, where a roofer goes up and does a seemingly small patch on a roof, then all of a sudden they say, you do need a whole new roof.
Oh, it's a classic.
Isn't it?
It's a classic.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, we caveat all of these kind of interviews with the fact that we know some really good people, and there's some fantastic architects and builders and tradespeople. We're trying to help you navigate the wrong ones, right?
And I guess that's the difference as well with us, is we have a preferred supplier list or partner list where we kind of know the people we work with are genuinely good eggs, and we're not going to come across those types of companies.
But interestingly, even if you're kind of outside of our area or you're watching this and you just want this information, I have written a book. I've written a book, Kerry, did you know?
I don't think
I've written a book. But the book is How to Save Time and Money on Your Building Project. And what it does is there are some very simple methods you can find to find the right people, to find the right tradespeople.
Yeah, navigating it yourself. If you know, we are not ultimately available to you as a resource. Is navigating that yourself the best way that you can and looking at the pitfalls before they happen.
I agree. So actually the question of, do I even need a project manager? is very not clear cut. What I would say is just make sure you're getting the right advice from the right people at the right time. You may not need a project manager, but what you do need is an expert eye to understand if you're being told the truth.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Right, so the next one is, how much do you cost and how do you charge as a project manager, Kerry?
It's an interesting one because, you know, it's all reliant on, you know, the information you've got to hand and what you're starting with and your starting point. Yes. Because if we come in right at the beginning, that's a whole different scope to coming in, sadly, down the line to rescue a project. We tend to do a lot. And that in itself is a costly process.
Yes, a great believer in kind of doing it right first time. So how much? It
does save you money in the end. You think?
I can't think of a project that we've been involved with where we haven't saved money. What I would say when it comes to that is, if you've got a really good project expert, an architect, or maybe even a builder, we have to remember that the barrier to entry to be a builder is zero. And actually the barrier to entry to be a designer can also be zero, not an architect.
So can you explain the difference? Because I think that's helpful.
Okay, fine. An architect, I'm a chartered surveyor. Buildsmith Solutions is regulated by the RICS, which means I have a code of conduct to undertake a duty of care to my clients. And if I don't, then there is recourse. So somebody can put a complaint into the RICS and then the RICS will take it on and start to question me as to whether or not I've been diligent and given the right advice. Architects are the same. They are regulated by the ARB. They're REBA architects. They've gone through 7 years of training. You also get other regulated designers called CIAT, architectural technologists. A good friend of ours, Mick, is a member of the Institute of Technologists. So we have to do compulsory training. We have to do CPD training. We have to do put a diary in at the end of the year. We have to have a certain level of insurance. We have to have complaints procedures. All of those things means there's a second barrier of recourse to anything we do.
There's that level of reassurance, isn't it?
Hugely.
For a client when they're seeking out a professional.
Hugely.
You know, what are they affiliated to? What is their governing body? And gives you that level of confidence.
And the problem with a designer is an architect who's done 7 years worth of training is not the same as somebody charging 500 quid to knock up some drawings in their back bedroom. It's just not. Now, I'm not saying that they're not skillful. What I'm saying is just be very careful when engaging these. So if we bring this right back to the question, how much do you cost and how much does it charge? You're absolutely right that if we were at the beginning and we need to envelop all of the architectural fees, not back bedroom 500 quid, proper architects who are regulated, who are insured to do the work, and then take that all the way through the management process, party wall, CDM, health and safety, all of that stuff, Building Safety Act, tendering, schedule of works, finding the contractor, doing the due diligence on the contractor. That is far more expensive than... And that's before, look at that, and that's before we've even started. All of that is far more costly than maybe a roof repair or a porch, like you said. Interestingly, not as costly as if it goes fundamentally wrong at the end, you've paid a cash deposit and the builder's run off. And really, we see, in terms of that, how much do you cost? It depends, but depending on the value of the project, we can guarantee that we will save more money than we cost. The reason I say size of the project is the smaller the project, the smaller the budget. Say a £50,000 extension, we aren't going to be competitive on. But what we can do is you can download the book. And they can actually use that as a guide to make sure that they're doing everything in the right order. All of my knowledge poured into one book. So how much do you cost and how much do you charge is £10 for the book. £10. Nothing. Right, the next question. What's the very first thing we should do before any work starts? What's the very first thing we should do before any work starts?
Find out why.
Yeah. The first question is, should you build? Nobody ever asks it.
Well, there's so much behind that, isn't there? It's, you know, what's your long-term plan? Are you planning on staying in the town? Are you going to be moving in the next 5 years?
People don't realise when they buy a house that you're already assuming that you'll be above the stamp duty threshold. People don't realise the day they move into the house, they've lost money. They're already down the stamp duty. And that's what, and actually, as a rule of thumb, it takes 5 years for just the property to come back without doing anything. So, assuming that you've bought something on Rightmove, if it's on Rightmove, it's not a development. So, what's the very first thing you should do before work start? Number one, ask yourself, should you build? Then the very next step, apart from call us, is good. It's the brief. It's the brief. The very next thing you should do after you say, should you build, is what is the budget, what is the time, what is the scope of works you want to do, and those three need to marry. And actually, if you're engaging with somebody, whether it be a builder or an architect, if it's not us, if you're engaging with a builder or an architect, and they haven't asked you what your budget is, what your timescales are, and what your scope are, and they've weighed in and given you advice, like, that doesn't make sense, or, no, it sounds about right. If they haven't said one of those two things, you are talking to the wrong people.
Yeah, you shouldn't have really.
Yeah. Stop and think for a moment. Yes, exactly.